So, I'm Jason Hobbs. This is my second version of the conversational marketing recipe specific for Community Bank, which is my local bank of multiple years. Can't remember, 12 years? Maybe longer. My grandparents, they've been there for decades as well. My mom's been there for a decade, blah, blah, blah. So, also, I actually kind of wrote out my explanation. Let me go to that. So as you can see, here we are. I walked through my rationale behind, why I chose them, and part of that was, where was it? Okay, so yeah, the reason that they're my first victims, actually, recipe. All right. So, and what I've done is, this is a rough draft. So if you've stumbled in, I mean, you're welcome to hang out, but understand that this is the very first run through of this. But in order to make sure that I actually do it, I have to do it this way. So, and I only have like 26 subscribers on YouTube, which is where I'm sending this video live. But I'll come back and be able to cut it up and, add it to my Facebook and use it for my LinkedIn connections and so forth. And I'll talk through a lot of that as well. But here's, where's that? Yeah. All right. So I literally stole these 5 steps from Dave Gerhardt on, what was that? Let me see. Let me go back to me. All right, yeah. So it was on Seeking Wisdom podcast, and it was the marketing part, a 5-part framework for the perfect presentation is what he called it. But it was basically how he approaches landing pages, if I understood correctly, and it definitely tracked from what I've seen, over time, from drift specifically, right? So tell a story, pose a problem, offer up a solution, show specific examples, and state the call to action. You got to let people know what you want them to do next. Telling a story, that's just helping you relate. It's kind of like when we used to go door to door, it was more of a case of, breaking the ice. So, smile, eye contact, excitement, and, having an actual conversation, actively listening to people. By doing that, all of those things start to build a rapport. Is that rapport? Between, you and that other person, right? And then you pose a problem that it's something that they relate to as well, a pain that they feel or are feeling. You all follow that up with a solution and then show specific examples. They're happy to take that next step as far as that, whatever the stated call to action might be. So I really like that. And so I threw that in because I needed to, I really liked it. So I added it, and I wanted to be able to chop this up possibly if I wanted to use it at some point for either training or just reminding myself. So I have it on the YouTube channel and I can run over there and check on it. All right, so let's go. Let's go back. All right, so this is. Whoops. So we need to go to slide deck, and that would mean this, right? All right. So conversational marketing recipe. This is phase 1. My idea is over time I'll be revisiting and adding on and updating, adding new campaigns, etc. For each of these chosen points of view that I'm picking. I'm not just picking whatever. These are, as much as humanly possible, I'm choosing places I have a relationship with. Starting obviously with my bank of so many years that my grandparents banked at for so many decades, and so forth. So, all right. So here's what this is the version 2.0 of the recipes. And these are conversational marketing recipes. So taking a non-digital native, right, born before the digital revolution, and typically 1 to 10 employees. Now, the exception is the very first, which is Community Bank, because they're definitely over 10 employees, well over that. But their perspective, their marketing perspective, digitally especially, is still very much in the past, in my mind. So, doing a recipe for them, being a customer, long-time customer, business customer for a long time, etc., it just felt natural. So, here are the 4 phases, though, because I already did the first one. I was working on the second when I realized that I had to go back and completely redo the framework of the recipe. So here are the 4 parts of each recipe, which is we'll cover the foundation, we'll go through media, and then the customer conversation is third, and then we'll follow that up with campaigns. Okay? And so we'll start with the foundation. The very fundamental foundational component is the website. So here is the marketing website. This is a screenshot from Community Bank. If you go to communitybankoffitzgerald.com, all spelled out, I think it redirects to cbcfitzgerald.com, and that's where this is. And the primary message, or the very first message you see, is if you're buying a home, we're here to help. So, i.e. pushing, the lending as far as the house mortgages, right? So I ran a very quick, super quick for me, because all I had to do was basically put in some basic information that I found, online and from their Facebook profile. And in doing that, Bright Local was able to help me get an idea. And as you can see, the website, the domain name was bought in 2002, it looks like. But the reason that it's so quote-unquote deficient in these numbers, and this isn't a bashing or anything, I'm just saying, if you look at this, the reason it's very clear to me why. And that's because it's not currently, the marketing website offers no value. And I don't mean that in a derogatory manner, but they haven't looked at themselves as a media company at this point. And that's what my conversational marketing recipe for them actually covers. So, take a look at this, but at the same time, understand that it's to be expected. If you're not creating content and you're not giving people a reason to come to this website other than they know your brand. And I believe Community Bank has done a very good job of branding over the years, specifically locally, without a doubt. So, the only campaign that we talked through in this first phase is it's just a direct, kind of a spin-off, I guess you would call it, of specific branding that I've already seen. And I'm actually going to go back and take a picture. There's a billboard specifically right around the corner, right beside McDonald's here, that they rotate, basically, Community Bank does. And it's largely a branding play. There's no direct call to action that I've really seen on that billboard ever that I can really remember. So, I'll get you a picture of it at some point. So digital reputation is the second component of the foundation. And for these guys, they have a really good one. They have 43 reviews through their Facebook page. I think a lot of them were older, but they've been in business forever, right? Well, not forever, but for a long, long time. So that's good. And I ran part of that report, also report on this. This is actually how I figured out that they actually had the Facebook reviews. I had seen the page, but I never noticed, that they had 43 reviews. But on Google, I had noticed that they only had a 1-star rating. So I was like, oh, that doesn't look good digital reputation wise. But then, obviously they have a very good reputation on Facebook. And, I think that works to their advantage with some of the stuff that we'll talk about with the campaigns later. So the digital citations, I can't figure out the way I want to quantify this section. The C portion of the foundation, analytics, so many different. No, actually, I do. This is actually, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. D is the one that I still haven't figured out. So this one, though, digital citation / local search engine optimization. So what's that mean? Contextually, for a bank, you want them to be able to be found when someone goes on their phone, on their laptop or desktop and types in bank, and Google is giving a contextual answer based on geography. Because if they're local to them, then they're prime candidates, right? So even more so than someone visiting from Singapore. Even though with online banking, etc., there's definitely opportunities that are available there, but you want to start with a firm foundation, which is, hey, you want to be at the top, so to speak, when people go into Google. And so that's where some of the review stuff, that one-star review, we want to pile on top of that. And that's part of the recipe that's coming up. So here are the different business listings. The ones that are populated, their name, address, business name and business address and business phone, they all match. So that's great. Maybe a little bit of different, like one is formatted a little differently, but I don't, as far as the phone numbers, but I don't think that that's a huge issue. And, or maybe it is. Huh. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to figure that out. All right. So definitely a lot of them that they could be listed on is the biggest takeaway from this screen. So this is the one that I'm still having trouble, but this is my favorite one. I forgot I changed it to this. Google My Business rank. And, like I was saying, we want to make sure that they're able to be found when people contextually go to the internet and search for a bank within, their geographic area. Because what they're targeting is the Georgia counties directly around Ben Hill County, including, obviously, Ben Hill County, right? So Google My Business, this is part of the report again from Bright Local, and you can see its location is in Fitzgerald, Georgia. I typed the keyword of bank in, they ranked 6th, which is largely due to the fact that they don't have the reviews and they don't have the good reviews. Even, for instance, Colony Bank, which is, quote unquote, I would guess would be their biggest competition locally for, community and Colony. Colony hasn't even verified theirs, and they're still ranked 4th because they have a much better star rating, I would guess. I mean, just generally looking off of the screen. But there's a lot of opportunity there. And I'm not saying that there's millions upon millions of these searches every month, but the ones that do happen, when you're a bank that's been here for however many decades, obviously you want to be first and foremost, right? So what and why I do specific to the foundation. Understanding this is going to be different each time. Specifically with Community Bank, they already have the marketing site, so we would run with that. But I would make that marketing site the hub for all the different CBC media that we're going to talk through in the media section and so forth, which is coming up in this presentation, right? So putting all of that and making that the primary home, that marketing site, now it's not hollow, so to speak. There's a lot of stuff there that's giving people a reason to come over. And from there, they're looking to get people to set up meetings for home sales, right? And they could do it digitally. They could come into the location. Either way will play out no problem with what I'm walking through here. So set up a customer feedback loop for both of the different locations, whether they use the drive-through only location more towards downtown Fitzgerald, or if they use the main campus for Community Bank, right? And the key here is the feedback loop it accomplishes a couple of things, or addresses a couple of things. Number one, it's a way to get positive reviews. For instance, that Google, right? They only have the one-star review. Well, making it easy for their, happy customers to give them feedback, and at the same time, when they give positive feedback, say, hey, would you care to share that publicly? If so, here are the links to different places you can do it. Pick whichever one you prefer. And it's really easy, whether they're on their phone or their desktop or laptop, for that customer. And that's the idea behind it, right? All right. So, and I would use get5stars.com. And, for them, I mean, it couldn't be $150 a month. It might even just be $100, because they may not want to, divide between the two different locations. At least not to start, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a banker, as you can tell. So, an initial campaign to clean up and build citations. Remember, one of the biggest things, let me run back to it so that it's fresh. So, here's the local business listings. We would be updating them. So, there's two ways this could go. They could either, already have one, and it needs to be updated, corrected, i.e., then they can do that. Or, it's not listed, they'll be able to tell you, these are the ones that matter. This one will be here, in, terms of importance, here's the listing from 1 to, 150, 200, whatever, different ones, different listings. And so they're able to choose which ones they want to use. So, where was I? Oh, yeah. I would do the 500 submissions, buy them at $2 a piece. That runs you $100. It's using Citation Burst by Get 5 Stars. It's just not on there. Well, actually, it's probably on there. I'm not going to worry about it. All right. So, total for the foundation section. This is in addition to, whatever their status quo is. It would be $2,200. They already have the website to keep that, right? And then they'd add in Get 5 Stars. I guesstimated $100 a month, so that's $1,200 for the year. Another $1,000 if they went with the block of 500 citations, and run from there. All right, number 2. This is the second portion of the recipe, is media, and the way that I would approach CBC media is I'd focus it on Ben Hill and surrounding Georgia counties. Using Facebook, which they already have 43 reviews on that are really positive, right? And they've never really shared anything through that page. So it won't be hard to, I'm betting it won't be hard to re-engage people. So, and, I would continue the current CBC branding initially. Specifically, they have, let me paint the picture a little. So they have a billboard that they're always doing, and everybody tends to like it, I think. I mean, I always have liked it. But they call it the junior members of the board. And I think that I can't remember if it's, I think it's anybody that works there, anybody on staff of Community Bank of Fitzgerald, Georgia, any of their kids, it's showing them, basically, right? And they're the junior, you get it? Well, I like that, and I would take it a bit further to where I would do some video interviews when possible with grown children of anyone within the community, CBC family, basically. Over the years they've worked there, whatever, just showing the roots in the area, especially the ones that have had, multiple kids and raised them here and, so forth. I mean, it's not a tough one, I don't think, to find things that will resonate with people in their surrounding counties. All right, so for this is $11,400 per quarter, which is $3,800 a month. And this is, for that's amazing. Like you're probably blanching, or some people are blanching at this. Community Bank, Mr. President, CEO of Community Bank, you should not be blanching. This is insane. This is basically highway robbery. To be able to get all of this for that price from the team that you're able to do, to get it from, as far as audienceops.com, that's insane. Stupid big deal. Why? Because keep in mind, every week they would produce one article, which is going to be around 1,500 words or whatever. They're going to put together a podcast episode. They're also going to do a professional video episode. This is for that price that I put in. I went through and priced it. And to be very specific, because I wanted to go high end. If we did everything that they offered, you're only spending $3,800 a month, and you're what's that, like 52 articles, 52 video episodes, and 52 audio episodes per year that is just built into an archive for this bank, right? I mean, these are all, the brand owns it. So yeah, I mean, that's like, don't get me wrong, like, you're dropping 11,400, but you'll see, I promise you will see that in no time, especially if you have any kind of an idea of, and a plan in place to actually, when people start coming to your marketing site on their own, you have a very clear process to, help them get what they want immediately. If you're doing that, they're going to be buying stuff. They're going to be, engaging you through support and, using different, watching videos about the, mortgage process. It's all helpful for when they're just better prepared when they meet face to face with your team. And that that's expensive, your team, hours, time, when they're on the clock exactly each week. So you want to be able to make their time on the clock as fruitful as possible, right? That's what this is the foundation of, is the idea. All right, so I went through and screenshot everything. This is where those numbers came from. And they lay it out very clear. One thing that I did want to be very clear, it says lead magnet development under the first month onboarding. That is very important because you can use forms or not. I've taken to not using forms, sign-up forms, where they have to give you an email address, and in order to do that, or by doing that, they're able to get, if it's a email course or if it's a PDF or, an ebook or whatever. I don't really like that. Go to drift.com and you can see why. But that lead magnet development, that is very good because that's a big piece of content that you're going to be able to use. And they're going to research it and know, okay, this is the one that you should use based on the goals that you talked with as they got started, etc. I mean, these guys are really good. They've been doing this for years upon years upon years. And Brian Castle, the guy behind it, is really, really sharp. So, and just a fantastic content marketer, which is why I just wholeheartedly endorse, use this. So those are the screenshots. The other thing I wanted to mention was, if you can get in with Unthinkable, so let's say that you're the president / CEO of Community Bank and you're watching this. Hi. But the other part is, if you want to really set yourself apart and potentially get kind of regional conversation going about Community Bank, then I would do everything that we talked about before, but I would also go, and whoever your star is, if it's going to be you or if it's going to be a couple of board members, or I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure the hierarchies at CBC, but whoever it is, you should totally try and get in with this guy. Because what he'll do is he's just going to put together an audio podcast that will make your brand really, really, really cool. And it's not going to be cheap. Like, you're talking about a bunch of money before, but this is even more, probably. It really depends. Like, I haven't priced it from him, but I know it's not going to be cheap. But it's going to absolutely be worth it. So you should absolutely at least check it, even if you don't know, if you're a little bit worried that you won't quite have enough budget, you only, a few thousand, 5,000, whatever, then I would still touch base with him just to see. So, because it's well worth it. If you can get in, this is the good stuff. Like, this is the NPR quality podcast, and having one of those for Community Bank on top of all the other stuff that Audience Ops is doing. Like, it's just the entirety of my strategy, so to speak, or whatever, for conversational marketing is understanding that you're a media company, controlling your media narrative. That's why, it's foundation, it's media, each recipe, foundation, media, customer conversation, and then campaigns, right? So, and the reason that media comes second and everything's built around that, right? Because that media, that's the intellectual property, that IP, so to speak, that you're adding to the archive. This is an investment. You're not just throwing money on, quote unquote, 80,000 circulation in the area that will be on the 60th page and, maybe somebody will see. I'm talking about content that you're putting out there for your specific people. It's just like over at the, ties right in with every year Community Bank has at the football games for Fitzgerald Hurricanes, which I live right across the street from the National Guard Armory and the high school, right? So the stadium's literally a stone's throw that way. So I got distracted. I need to kill my email when I'm on here live. Oh, yeah. They have sausage dogs, if I remember right, which I haven't been to a game in many, many years. But, definitely it's kind of that same thing. They have the big, there are people out there I believe that they were in their own, the polo shirts or whatever they had the brand on it, and they're just giving stuff away and talking with people. And, it's the same thing. Like, you're giving this great content. And think about it. If your customers are given reasons to share you with other people, that's always positive, and with online banking and some of the options that could be available, it's definitely something that bring your lawyer in. I mean, don't let anything be an impediment, because I guarantee you that all of the above, Audience Ops, Unthinkable, all of the above, Drift, they're all going to work well with whatever industry constraints are required. No problem. You're just going to want to be clear about them up front and make them be clear about this is how it works on each one, so you understand, or your team understands. All right, so media distribution. This is the easy part in 2018, in my mind. Like, you can get it in front of eyeballs without having to spend any money on it. You can get it out into eyeballs, but you spend some money on it, you can really easily get it in front of the proper eyeballs. And keep in mind, I'm not saying we set up a landing page, a sales landing page, they're going to buy or they're going to die. I mean, the whole point is when you're doing paid stuff, in my mind, you're sharing your free stuff. Like, you're just letting them know, hey, we got this. Are you, are you thinking about buying a home? Here's our, quick start guide, or the equivalent, basically, right? The whole point is you're shining a light on something that they want, and you're not trying to sell them something. That's just not the way that today's consumer rolls. It's not the way that you roll in your personal life, So don't expect others to do it that way. So, but creating the media that people actually care about, that's the hard part. Having the stories that are actually in it, you're talking to the president and CEO of Community Bank. I mean, you have a wealth of stories for however many decades that the bank's been in business, right? Huge roots in the community. It's called Community Bank. So, customer conversation. This is the third. Would it be a leg, so to speak, of the table for the foundation? No, not the foundation, for the recipe. Yeah, this is the third phase of the recipe, I guess. All right, so this is $4,500 a year if you pay by upfront for the year. If you want to pay monthly for the same settings or whatever, live chat operators and all that, then it's $500 a month. They give you, I think it's like 25% off. Yeah, that is 25% off. And what that gets you is the 5 live chat operators. So community bank, I was thinking, at least to start, you have a manager, so to speak, or customer service manager. And this is only during lobby hours in my mind. At least to start, right? So only during lobby hours, which I would guess would be, what is it, 9 to 12 or 8 to 12 or 9 to 12, I think it is on Sundays. Saturdays. 9 to 12 on Saturdays. But it's just, that was lobby hours, and you have, say, 2 customer service and 2 sales, and then you have a manager of some sort, But decision maker it was kind of my thinking, right? Okay, so new customers. This is the customer conversation with new customers, and at least to begin with, I would start out with engaged chat. Like, this is the funnel, if you will. I prefer to call it a pathway. So, they engage in a chat, right? They go, number 2 is they actually have the conversation. They become chat qualified. And what that means is that they've, basically answered questions with a chatbot. Chatbot asked them a question, they answered. Chatbot, based on their reply, did whatever was next, and then whatever was next, and then at some point, they booked a meeting, is the goal, right? So think about the home loans. All right, so I would have them website bot to qualify and book home loan meeting for qualifiers. So if they qualify, book the meeting, right? So let's qualify them and book the meeting, and that's because you're doing the $500 a month version of Drift, or if you paid for the year, the $325 a month version, whatever. But the point is, you have these available because of that. So you can't do this stuff without the higher plan, is one point. I'm not trying to belabor that. All right, so what about current customers? Now, keep in mind that with CBC, I can access my accounts from my desktop and just log in to, say Chrome and go to the place, their website specifically for, accounts, log in and go. Or I could I think it's on both my iPhone, or if I had an iPad I was using it for, I think you can go, I know with iPhone or Android or whatever, I'm pretty sure you're able to go to their app. And I would put the live chat during lobby hours again for the online banking customers, wherever they wanted to access online banking. And you can build bots from that as well. You can have it tied into a knowledge base of different questions that have been answered that it will auto-populate based off of what they type in as their question to that bot. We're just looking to build the best user experience possible, right, for the customers. And, that's the mobile app as well as if they're using a browser. In using a browser on mobile, all the above, however they want to get there, we want to put that live chat in there so that they can reach out and get their answers as quickly as possible. So that every time that they get their answer as quickly as possible, it just builds positive going forward, right? So campaigns, this is the 4th one. And it's not a long one. I'm only doing one campaign that I'm talking through, and I would call it community roots, right? In video interviews with grown children of those CBC people, the family, the larger family. I know, there's a bunch of different options that are, different stories that you can tell, and you're able to collaborate potentially with Jay Acunzo and his team with Unthinkable Media. But definitely, if you're doing this, you're using audience ops as well, and you're able to Brian Castle and his team. And I guarantee you're going to, find a way, a story that's going to, a narrative, if you will, that's going to build value. If you have something that is long term, people can come back to and find and share and engage with, etc. That's much better than any I want to say ephemeral, but I don't think that's right. My point being, like, if you buy an ad, it expires, right? Whereas these videos that you would create, the audio, the articles, answering questions that are pertinent to customers, it's going to be pertinent to customers today and in the future, just like it was in the past. Or, as long as, contextually. So that, and I believe by doing that with the community roots, it segues nicely into using media to establish authority for these people. So, welcome. Let me try this. I thought I could add it, and I think that segues nicely though. So, and that's it. That was actually it. The idea being that I'm going to continue working through these, but the next one is Irwin Animal Clinic that I'm going to do. That's the second recipe, and it'll follow these same 4 steps that I walk through here for Community Bank. If you have questions or whatever, if you see this video or whatever, then my email is down in the bottom right or left, bottom corner. And all right, I think that's it. I can't believe somebody actually showed up and saw part of this. That's pretty cool. That didn't happen the first time when I did the first 4 or whatever. So, but this is a much better version, even though it's highly rough draft. But definitely a much better version. So, thank you to everyone. And if you're watching this later, or if you're here watching it now, have a good one. And if you have questions or anything, definitely reach out. I'm on all the socials.